Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for spending some of your time with us. My name is Tina Rosenquist, and this is Knowledge for Wellness. And this show is to better inform you, because the more information you have, the better decision you can make. And today I am delighted to present Cassie Weenus from Weight and Wellness, located in Albertville area.
Well, actually, I live in Albertville. Thank you, Tina, for the nice welcome.
Yes.
I work out of our Wayzata office.
Okay.
We also have an office in St. Paul and White Bear Lake.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay. Well, today's segment, of course, is going to be on the actual flu, because we are starting to get into the flu season, a little too early this year. I know when you think of the flu season, you're worried about the shots, or you're worried about everything that's going around, and the sun isn't out as much. But we don't really think of nutrition in the sense of making us better. So if you'd like to elaborate along with our little segment on that, but I'd like you to tell our viewers a little bit about you. You're a registered dietitian?
Right. I'm a registered dietitian. I have been for about 11 years now. A little bit newer to the company Nutritional, Weight and Wellness. I came on board here about 3 years ago. Okay. Absolutely love what I do, because for the first time I'm truly helping people get better, and we do it through the power of real food for the most part. It's just getting people back to the basics and really eating the foods that were put on this earth for us to eat, instead of things out of a box or a bag. Right,
exactly. And it seems to be so easy just to, run through, since we all have such demanding lives now.
Right.
People aren't going back, to the fact of the crock pots, or, starting, our nutrition in the sense of the night before, or something like that. I remember my mom sitting down with us every Sunday night. We went through what we were going to plan for the week. We all got to pick out one dinner. And then, of course, we did the grocery shopping. And then every night she had, we didn't have to eat that particular meal on Monday night, but she had it basically for the week. We could make the food.
That is a great idea, and that's a wonderful idea for people today. That doesn't have to be a thing of the past. Take that time. That's some good family time too, to sit down with your kids. And if you have picky eaters, that might be a good way. If they get to pick a meal, just like you guys got to do as kids, that gives them some say in it, and then maybe even help them, or let them help prepare a little bit of the meal, and those picky eaters might just turn around for you. But absolutely, we do need to pull out the crock pot. We do need to plan ahead a little bit. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't take a little bit of preparation, but it doesn't have to be super elaborate. But when you talk about the flu season,
yes,
and why are so many people getting sick these days, one thing that comes to the top of my mind is we're eating too much sugar. Okay. And we're going to talk in just a minute, or I'd like to talk in just a minute about where some of this sugar is coming from. But first I want to share some research that really isn't new research, but not enough people know this. About 30 years ago, this research got published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. And what they showed was that after a high sugar meal or a high sugar snack, your phagocytes, the activity of those phagocytes is reduced by 50% for 5 hours after that meal or snack.
Oh.
Now, most people are thinking, what's a phagocyte? Phagocytes, I always think of them, I'm a pretty visual learner, as the little Pac-Men in your body that are gobbling up the viruses or the infection or the bad bacteria that's trying to make you sick.
Oh, okay.
So now if you think of that research that says if we eat a high sugar meal or a snack, and our phagocytes are almost paralyzed, is how I think of it. Those little Pac-Men are about paralyzed for 5 hours afterwards. No wonder why a lot of people are already coming down with the H1N1 flu.
Right.
Because they're eating high sugar foods all day long.
To keep that balance up there.
Yeah, well, and also, we're just such a nation of processed foods. And when I say sugar, I'm sure some viewers right now are thinking, I don't do a lot of sugar, I don't eat desserts, that type of thing. But sugar can be in the cold cereal that you're having in the morning. In some cold cereals, not picking on any brand names, but some of them look healthier than others, so I thought I'd bring one that appears healthy on the front.
Sure.
But usually those turn to even more sugar than some of the other more marketed to kids types of cereals. So when you look at this cereal, I poured out some sugar samples for us today just to get a good visual.
Sure.
Bowl of this particular cereal turns to 20 teaspoons of sugar in your body. You know, think about that, right? Would you ever dream of spooning 20 teaspoons of sugar down your throat or down your kids' throat
Oh, no.
for breakfast in the morning, but we give a cereal and we think, you know, at least we fed them breakfast.
Sure.
Not such a good thing, and that immune system is being depressed by 50% for 5 hours after that meal of cold cereal. Another example, you know, anytime you're picking up something that's made from flour, especially the white flour,
Yes.
that's synonymous with sugar. So you have white flour in your box cereal, you certainly have white flour in your bagels, and our bagels in this country are so huge.
Oversized. Our portions are so oversized with everything. When we go out to eat, it's like I'm buying 2 meals. I always get a to-go box.
And then you get a better value, too.
I know.
I mean, that's a great idea.
Get 2 meals, but you know, in one sitting to eat that much quantity of food,
Isn't it sick?
it's just amazing to me.
Yeah. When you go to other countries, when I was right out of college, I did some work for a lady that had her own nutrition communications business. And she was doing some work for a pretzel company. And this pretzel company was also overseas.
Okay.
And the company was telling her overseas that pretzel is half the size. And they
Right.
could not believe how big ours was in America. And it's the same with bagels. These are huge compared to what other countries eat. And when you figure out how much sugar that turns into, a little bit less than the cereal, 15 teaspoons of sugar in your system. Now, if you're
For
like
that?
me, for this bagel, I used to do the jelly on top.
Oh, and the cream cheese, of course. And you have your own little jelly donut.
Yeah. But when you put that jelly, now you got even more sugar on
Wow.
the top of that. So again, it's foods like these. How about potato chips? Again, people don't typically think sugar when they look at a bag of potato chips, but a white potato is going to turn to a lot of sugar.
Right.
So this bag of potato chips, 6 teaspoons of sugar.
Oh, in that little sitting when you're watching television,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm sure a lot of people could eat more than what's in this one bag, that one city.
Right.
You know,
So I guess my question, you talked about the immune system, and you know, when right before you're starting to come down with someone, you know, everyone says to take this kind of whatever. You know, I'm into vitamin C when I know I've been around someone like that. But how do you know that your immune system is not working up to what it should be?
that's a great question, and there can be different indicators. One of the first things that comes to my mind is that if you're that person that when they get something, you just can't kick it. Like if you're that person that gets a cold and it lasts longer than 5 days, or if the flu grabs onto you and it lasts longer than 5 days, your immune system isn't where it needs to be.
Right.
Or if you're that person that every time a bug comes around, you know you're going to be the one to get it, and you know, we've all visited with that person that says, I get whatever comes by. That's a suppressed immune system or a weak immune system. Also, people that, you know, sometimes people talk to me in clinical practice and they just feel tired and run down all the time. And that one can kind of go both ways. That can be a sign of a weakened immune system, or just the fact that you're not getting enough sleep and you're feeling tired and run down. That lack of sleep is going to weaken your immune system.
Right.
And then I can think of clients I have too that have sore throats just chronically throughout the winter season, or feel achy a lot, not just joints but muscles as well. All of those things can be signs of a weak immune system.
Okay, so how would you actually, I know when I think of nutrition, I think of it like putting the fuel into the car. And that's my concept. And even though I love the jelly donuts and I love the desserts and I love the hot fish sundaes, I love all of that. But there are foods that my body loves too, and that I love. And even after eating something like that, after a couple of days, I don't feel as energetic as I should be. I do feel run down. And then you look back at what I've eaten, and that's
Direct
because,
link.
you know, it's yes, I love that on my tongue, but I don't like what it does for my body or how hard it makes my body work to digest that food. Also.
Right. You know, and you mentioned low energy levels. If you eat the donuts, or how about this one? The big muffin.